Hi, I'm Danielle Tempest. I'm a nutrition and physical activity specialist. And as part of the Healthy You virtual festival, I'm going to be talking about what a healthy diet should look like and how to achieve this. During the video, there will be opportunities for you to pause the video in order to be interactive with it so that you can learn and engage with me. I'm going to talk you through my 7 tips to a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So what does a healthy, balanced diet look like? A good place to start is with the Eatwell guide. The Eatwell guide was produced by Public Health England, and it shows the proportions of the food groups that make up a healthy, balanced diet. Now, before we move on and I show you what the Eatwell guide looks like, pause the video now and have a think about what those food groups might be and see if you get any right. So let's have a look at the Eatwell guide. Did you get any of those food groups right? So as you can see, the food groups are proportioned out, and we can already see that the biggest proportion on this graphic is fruits and vegetables. And that is the biggest portion because they have the most vitamins and minerals, and that's essential as well as fibre. Carbohydrates is the next biggest one, and that's essential. Carbohydrates are essential for energy, but make sure that you're having whole grain varieties where possible because they will keep you fuller for longer and again have more fibre. We've got protein, you can see on the graphic as the next biggest section. And when you're having your protein, it should be lean meats, fish and pulses. We've got dairy or dairy alternatives, ideally low-fat options, low-fat cheeses, yoghurts and milk. Semi-skimmed or skimmed where possible. And then we've also got that really thin slither of fat. We do need a little bit of fat for good health, but small amounts and ideally unsaturated fat. So spreads and oils should be the unsaturated options. We also can see on the Eatwell guide that we've got water on the outside and then our treats. And these are on the outside for good reason. Water has no nutritional value, however, we do need it for good health. So hydration is key. So we do need water, 6 to 8 glasses ideally a day. We've got treats obviously on the outside because we don't need those for a balanced, healthy diet, but we do like to have them still. So it's okay to have them in small amounts, but they don't make up a healthy, balanced diet. So to maintain a healthy, balanced diet, it's important that we include all of these food groups throughout our day. So this graphic is designed to show you the proportions throughout the day, not one meal. So there we have a really easy graphic and visual to help you visualise what your healthy, balanced diet should look like. It's really key that we incorporate all of those food groups throughout the day. But we talk a lot about fruits and vegetables being the most important thing. But something to mention is that we talk about our 5 a day. Now that's a recommendation, but we should be really having more vegetables than fruit in that proportion. And it is a recommendation for at least 5. So try and meet that recommendation. That's a really, really key point to having a healthy, balanced diet as well. So let's move on to something else that I'm going to talk about today in the session. And again, a chance to interact if you want to. I'm going to touch on fats. Now, before we move on to fats, I would like you again to pause the video and have a think about what knowledge you already have on fats. There are different types of fats, so think about which ones they are and see if you can remember any. So let's see how you got on. So we have different types of fats, and there are good fats and bad fats, essentially. Now, very basically, we have unsaturated fat and we have saturated. Now, saturated fat is linked to heart disease and high cholesterol. Now, just very quickly, have a think now, and you can pause the video again, where we might find unsaturated fat, in what food we might find unsaturated fats, and where we might find saturated fats. So pause the video and have a think about that now. Saturated fat is found in processed meats, things like your sausages, your bacon, burgers, anything like that, that's going to have saturated fat. And if you think about that, saturated fat is solid at room temperature, unsaturated fat tends to not be. Something to think about just very quickly before we finish on fats is that fat has the highest amount of calories than any other nutrient. So regardless of which fat you are having, the calorie content is still higher. So therefore, when it comes to, let's say, weight loss, you'd be looking at reducing your fat of any kind. Let's talk about sugars. Added sugar and natural sugars. Now, we call added sugars free sugars, okay? And they're the ones that we should be reducing the most. So anything that's naturally occurring sugars, that's where you need to be having more of. So in fruits, ideally whole fruits. The recommendation for sugar is to have no more than 30 grams a day. That's just for adults and children over 11. We are having a lot more than that, and especially in children. So ways to think about reducing the amount of sugar you have is to cut out sweets and treats every day and have them as a one-off treat. Think about especially things like sugary cereals and things like that, and reducing the amount that you actually have in your daily diet. Salt should be reduced in our diet. It's linked to high blood pressure, and there is a recommendation for that as well. Pause the video now and see if you can remember. So did you manage to remember what the recommendation is? The recommendation for adults is to have no more than 6 grams of salt a day. That's roughly 1 teaspoon. We are, much like sugar, having more than that in our daily diets. So for a better overall healthier diet, our bodies only need 1 gram actually, but the recommendation is to stay under 6 grams, no more. We're getting our salt from things like salted snacks, crisps, nuts. Reducing those foods down are the ways to help you to reduce your salt intake. We're also still adding salt to our cooking and at the table. So again, try and eliminate that from cooking and from the table. Let's talk about water. As I said at the beginning of the session when we looked at the Eatwell guide, water doesn't have any nutritional value. However, we do need it for good hydration. So it's really, really important that you increase or keep your hydration up throughout the day. And there's also a recommendation for that. So for good health, you should be aiming for the recommendation. Depending on your physical activity as well, you might need to increase that slightly. Pause the video now and see if you can remember what the recommendation is. How many glasses should you be having every day? So did you get it right? The recommendation for water to stay hydrated and to stay healthy is 6 to 8 glasses a day. Now your glasses might look like this one, so 6 to 8 glasses, or you might want to carry a water bottle, which is a really easy way to make sure you stay hydrated. Keep it topped up and sip throughout the day. Something else to maintain a healthy, balanced diet is to eat regularly. Keep your metabolism topped up so that it continues to function in the way that it should. Making sure that you are having healthy, balanced meals as well as healthy snacks throughout the day will ensure that your metabolism keeps burning and pushes through and keeps you healthy. Physical activity is my final tip to maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Simply moving more in your everyday life can contribute to this. There is a recommendation for this too, so pause the video and have a think about what that might be. So the recommendation for physical activity is 150 minutes a week. And you would be looking at achieving this by doing some cardiovascular activity. Something that works your heart rate and gets the blood pumping around the body. So you need to be getting to that just slightly out of breath level of physical activity, what we call moderate. We should also be looking at including some strength sessions and flexibility in our weekly physical activity regime. Ideally 2 to 3 times a week, you should be doing some either body weight exercises or using small weights to build up on that strength. And also for flexibility, maybe some yoga and some Pilates to keep those muscles lean and flexible. Something to think about when you haven't done any physical activity for a while is to build on that recommendation slowly. And you can break it down to 10-minute slots of physical activity throughout the day, so it makes it more achievable and fit into your life. So being physically active in your everyday life, building to 5 days a week, and that recommendation of 150 minutes a week is the key to a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So just to recap on my 7 tips for a healthy, balanced lifestyle. Number 1, maintain a healthy, balanced diet. Number 2, reduce fat intake. Number 3, reduce sugar intake. Number 4, reduce salt intake. Number 5, stay hydrated. Number 6, eat regularly. And number 7, stay active.